October 5th, 2020. Wild, wild year it's been for the grossly underperforming oil sector in the markets, despite a very strong rebound in the markets off of the March April lows. The energy sector has lagged tremendously, and this has been the story for the past 5 years or so. It's starting to feel like a bottom now, though, here in the fall of 2020 as oil prices seem to be hovering around $40 a barrel. The energy sector has been really viewed as something that will become obsolete by many people, and there couldn't be anything further from the truth. You're going to hear an argument on, many people, many pundits will tell you that it's here to stay, and you'll actually see growth in the coming years. People are kind of have a pie in the sky vision that everything will run off renewables, and the mathematics and economics simply do not add up. So I've been buying continually as the oil majors have continued to fall. We're looking at Exxon now at $35. We're looking at Chevron at $72. BP is at a paltry $17, and Shell is right around $26 or so. All these are going to double. I don't know if it's going to take 2 years or 3 years, but they're going to double. The news out today or lately has been about Exxon's dividend. It's now yielding around 10%, and people are saying that they're going to have to do something. The news of earnings continue to be terrible and coronavirus driven, and there's record poor performances amongst the oil majors. So there is hope in the future for when the planes get back up in the sky and the restrictions get lifted in the countries with the highest oil consumption. So what I'm looking at now is the infection rate in the United States, which is something like 40,000 cases a day. When you see that start to drop and hold 20,000, 10,000 below, by that I think it'll already be too late. They'll already have built in, the premium reflecting the anticipated rebound. But that's what I expect to play out. I know this sounds strange, maybe a little bit against the conventional indicators, but I think there's an India story on the horizon in the next coming years. They have a real bad coronavirus infection rate at the moment, but I think they're number 3 or 4 in the world in terms of countries' oil consumption. So, can you imagine where a growing economy in an undeveloped country with a soaring population and coming off of a pandemic, what their oil consumption is going to look like? I would expect a strong rebound. I would expect to see things like the petrochemicals, the asphalts, these type of things being just absolutely surging in places of the world like India. So keep an eye on alternative uses for the oil. It's not just jet fuel and gasoline. There's all these other uses that I feel are going to help to absorb some of the lost use from combustion engines that certainly will be occurring as zero emission vehicles grow. So my whole thesis is that the zero emission vehicles, EVs, they're going to take a chunk of the sector. There's no question about it. California, the governor declared 2035 they're going to not have any gas-powered vehicles, which I'm going to put on the record is not going to happen. There'll be resistance, and there'll be resistance anywhere that they say that they make foolish claims like that, because lobbyists and just studies on economic impacts from this transition will delay it by decades, not years, decades. So, for the record, there will be car dealerships in California. The high-end population in California love their Lamborghinis and Maseratis, Ferraris, Range Rovers, Jaguars, Mercedes, BMWs. They're not going anywhere. So the EVs will be taking a greater portion of the market. They will have a big impact, but globally, which is where the daily oil consumption figures come from, you're going to see some absorption of that loss in the form of the petrochemicals, the asphalts, and just other gasoline combustion engines. So we're going to see how this is going to play out with the coronavirus. We're just coming off of President Trump getting it and rebounding like an immortal that he seems to be. And U.S. cases are still on the rise, but like I said, once we see that drop, that convincing drop, you're going to see these oil majors pop right back, and oil's going to pop back as well. So still, I guess, oversupplied, but a couple analysts are saying look out for 2021, 2022 for there to be a deficit, and that's pretty incredible, all things considered. So I can't imagine during my lifetime I'll ever see anything similar to the coronavirus event in terms of impacts to global oil consumption. And assuming that's the case, the worst is behind us. So forward-looking stocks, you have to be in the oil majors. You have to grab them while they're on sale. I think the record profits that they were posting just 2 years ago will return once the planes get back up into the sky. And I'll check in with you guys in a couple months. But that's the game plan. Just still buying at these levels, and I will be buying on the rebound. And once oil gets back to the 50, 60 level, it's going to be a whole new game. So hang on. No one's going out of business. Everything's going to be okay. Keep buying oil majors.